As many of you know, I spend at least 1 week a year up in the wine country of upstate New York. Over the course of the last decade or more of journeying north, I've been amazed at the cooperation and collaboration between the wineries and between the wineries and the communities in which they're located. It is not unusual to be at a wine tasting and have the taster begin to discern your particular likes and dislikes and say, have you tried the wines over at such and such a place? You might like what they have to offer. Or when they recognize in our conversations that we're really interested in the industry and some of the finer points of the history and the development of that area. They might say, if you go to such and such a winery in the afternoon, you could catch the owner there. It's worth the trip for what he has to share. It is fascinating to watch how the communities and the wineries work in a symbiotic relationship, recognizing how important each is to the other. It is especially poignant to watch those communities and those wineries in times of crisis. When one winery sustains damage to the vineyards because of weather, the other wineries around them will step up and help with harvests and product. Or when one vineyard owner's wife was killed tragically in a car accident, the entire region came together to support him and to help him redevelop his winery in a new way. I saw this cooperation and collaboration so evident this past month as we traveled north in the midst of COVID-19. They had brought in an expert to help all of the wineries reopen safely for their employees as well as for those of us who would visit. They worked hard with the inns and the businesses to make sure that they too were following guidelines. They helped one another develop new ways of conducting tastings that fit their particular situation and yet still were able to highlight their products. It was truly an example of what Jesus talked about in John's Gospel when he uses that image of the vine. There was a single vine with many branches, but they all worked together. Jesus says there in John's Gospel that he is the vine and we are the branches, and that our call is to bear much fruit, to love one another. Never have we been given a greater opportunity to do that in recent times than those we find ourselves in today. The world around us and this virus has caused us to disintegrate, to divide, to hate, to become violent. It has put brother against brother, families against neighbors. We have an opportunity as church and the people of God and the people of God's communities to work together, to find new and innovative ways to be God's people in the midst of this crisis. We need to see what we are about as an opportunity and not just a crisis. That God has given us the gifts, the talents, and has brought us together as vines grafted onto that single vine of his love for us. That we may continue to make a difference in this world. That we may continue to reconcile those different views and work together. And who knows, if we could produce all of our collective energies, if we could channel those all in one single direction, Think of the marvelous and beautiful wine we could produce. Oh, the fruit of the vine. That would be an Easter morning experience. Alleluia, Jesus is risen, trumpets resounding to glorious light. Splendor the Lamb, heaven forever. Oh, what a miracle God has in sight. Jesus is risen, and we shall arise. Give God the glory, alleluia. Jesus the vine, we are the branches, life in the Spirit, the fruit of the tree. Heaven to earth, Christ to the people, gift of the future now flowing in me. Jesus is risen, and we shall arise. Give God the glory, alleluia.